Hi guys, it's Mark Zickery, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zickery of Space Command. And I just wanted to talk today about Richard Branson's flight into space. And on the news they're saying, well, what's the point of this? Is this just merely an ego trip for a billionaire? And you even have Neil deGrasse Tyson saying, well, we already did parabolic flights into space, into suborbital space back with Alan Shepard, which interestingly enough, I was in preschool at the time, and they rolled out a black and white television set so we could watch his flight, Alan Shepard's flight. So that was pretty amazing for me to see when I was, I guess, 4 years old or whatever, 5. But but I want to talk about Richard Branson and Virgin Galactic, and by extension Jeff Bezos and his company and Blue Origins, and of course Elon Musk. So here's the whole thing. I think what Richard Branson did is great. And, he had the money to do it and he did it. But think about it. He could have just bought another yacht, or he could have, bought any number of wives or whatever. But he didn't. He spent 17 years building a ship that could take him and others into space. Now, why is that important? Here's the reason. Because right now we have robots doing a very good job of going to other planets. Here's my Mars Observatory hat, my Mars exploration hat from my friends at JPL, NASA. But how are we going to get to Mars? Manned missions. How are we going to get to anywhere else in the solar system where people actually can go there? People can nose around. People are curious. People can do things that robots can't do. And we're an exploring species. If we had just stayed in Africa and not wondered what was over the next hill, what would have happened? But we are very curious, and we always want to know what's over the next hill, what's across that water, what's across space. And so, but here's the main reason. When I was a kid, the space exploration, manned and robotic, was handled by governments. That was it. That was the only game in town. But I grew up reading books like this, The Man Who Sold the Moon by Robert Heinlein. And this is when these great writers were working hand in glove with the space scientists, but they had a different version in the 40s and 50s. And this is a perfect example. Here's the opening to The Man Who Sold the Moon by Robert Heinlein. Quote, "You've got to be a believer." George Strong snorted at his partner's declaration. "Delos, why don't you give up? You've been singing this tune for years. Maybe someday men will get to the moon, though I doubt it. In any case, you and I will never live to see it." D.D. Harriman grunted. "We won't see it if we sit on our fat behinds and don't do anything to make it happen, but we can make it happen." That guy's a super rich guy, and he does make it happen. And so, for me, Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos, and particularly Elon Musk, are doing something phenomenal and wonderful, because they're saying that the more people that get up into space, the more people who understand that we are not a one-planet species, the more we will be exploring, the more we will be expanding, the more we will be taking our species beyond what any species on this planet that we know of has done before. And I think that's important, because the more that we're exploring, the more that we're expanding, the more that we are pursuing our curiosity, the less we're destroying each other, the less we're destroying our planet. It's not, as I said before in Mr. Sci-Fi, I very much view our possibilities as either destroying ourselves or being the best of ourselves. And the best of ourselves is our exploring nature. The best of ourselves is our scientific nature, wondering how things work, wondering what the mysteries of the universe are and unlocking them. Very different from exploiting other people's, destroying natural resources, greed, all of those, greed, anger, violence, those are all the negative aspects of humanity. But clearly, curiosity, excitement for the unknown, and learning what the unknown is, these are all to the good. So with Richard Branson going up into space, his idea is space tourism. His idea is eventually that people will be able to go into space. This is terrific. It makes it the purview of average citizens, and maybe at first it'll be super rich citizens, billionaires, but then it will be just regular people. Just with air flight, where there was one time where people had to have a lot of money to travel via airplanes. Now you can do it for $99 or whatever the going rate is to wherever you want to go to, and it's made the world accessible when it's not a pandemic. And that was terrific, and I think space deserves that too. I feel that we've had sort of a 50-year hibernation, and I think it's a real shame that instead of funding manned mission to Mars, we funded the space shuttle instead. I love the space shuttle. I think it was a very important project, but and also another thing to not minimize what Branson accomplished. Right now, space travel is extremely dangerous, and you always risk death going up into space. And so Richard Branson was willing to put his life on the line, and he knew that if things went south, he could die. That's obvious to any of these guys. Bezos, Elon Musk, any of them know the risks. And so I think these guys are cutting edge. I think these guys are doing something important, particularly Elon Musk with his Starship and his dreams of a colonized Mars. So anyway, I just want to put in that as a fan of Have Spacesuit Will Travel and all these wonderful visions that I grew up with. And, and again, I'm really glad to see Branson didn't buy the moon or sell it, but he certainly got us a little bit closer to it. So that's about it for now, and we will talk very soon. Bye, guys.